When a Sigma guy falls silent, psychologists point out an interesting observation. Have you ever observed that moment when someone's energy entirely transforms, not in an apparently painful way but in that subtle final way that seems like a door softly shutting forever? For Sigma guys, silence is more like a final verdict because by the time you notice their stillness, they have already gone through a whole process you never anticipated, even if most people utilize silence as a tactic or weapon. Imagine water freezing. The temperature decreases gradually without any noticeable difference, and then all of a sudden everything freezes in what seems like a second. That's how masculine male quiet works. By the time you see it, the shift has already occurred. This is about something deeper, a fundamental change that occurs when a Sigma male has reached a point of no return. It is not about emotional manipulation or silent treatment. Renowned author and psychologist Jordan Peterson says that certain types of silence have nothing to do with communication but rather with choices that have already been made. Let's examine 7 outcomes and the reasons behind them that occur when a Sigma becomes quiet. It's too late to alter the impending number 1 mental health crisis by the time you notice this quiet. In psychology, bridges have been destroyed. The threshold of irreversibility is an intriguing point. For Sigma males, this threshold, where the mind moves from weighing options to making decisions, has a special finality that few others can comprehend. Consider how bridges burn in your mind. It's not a loud or dramatic moment, with no visible smoke or flame outside. Rather, it's that silent moment when you look at a situation or relationship and realize that something fundamental has changed inside of you. The mental pathway that once connected you to someone or something simply vanishes. The finest kind of retaliation, according to Marcus Aurelius, is to avoid becoming like your adversary. Sigma guys go one step further and don't even seek retribution. Instead, they psychologically distance themselves from others to the point where any chance of a future relationship is eliminated. This isn't about rage or emotional responses. The cold causes the mental bridges to burn. Once essential commercial decision-making links become optional, then unneeded, and then non-existent. By the time others realize anything has changed, these pathways have already been removed, and what's most revealing is what occurs after. While others may attempt to re-establish relationships or old patterns, the Sigma male knows something that others do not. Some bridges that have been burned in the mind can never be rebuilt, not out of resentment or spite, but because the very foundation that held them together has vanished. This is because when a mind is deliberate, like a sigh closing a door, it does more than just lock, it removes the door completely. Number 2, the respect is gone. There is a tipping point in how we view others, a moment when respect is lost and turns into something that can never be recovered. For Sigma males, this shift isn't just about disappointment, it's about seeing someone's true nature with complete clarity. When a Sigma male sees through someone's character, no amount of talent, success, or charm can restore that lost respect, according to Bruce Lee. This loss of respect isn't about anger or judgment. Rather, it's more like finally realizing that the mentor's wisdom was actually borrowed quotes from the friend whose loyalty was merely convenience. The spouse whose strength was just a front can't be lifted once the curtain falls. The way Sigma men digest this insight, not announcing it, nor attempting to expose others, or proving their points, is what really makes this definitive. It is evident from their acts that the energy shifts as the respect just vanishes, leaving a gap that cannot be filled by justifications or assurances. Because respect for a Sigma isn't just about appreciating someone's accomplishments but also about believing in their essence, and once that faith in someone's core nature wanes, no surface-level adjustments can ever restore it. The investment stops the benefit of doubt once it is freely given. It vanishes completely, not with drama or declaration, but with a quiet finality that others frequently mistake for simple distance. Third place, his tranquility is more important than justifications. People often interpret silence as an invitation to defend, explain, or negotiate, but for a Sigma guy who has arrived at this stage, maintaining his calm takes precedence above any discourse that might possibly be sinister. When he stated, "The greatest power we have is the power to walk away from things that threaten our peace of mind," the ancient Stoic philosopher recognized this. For Sigma guys, this is a practical choice that follows many efforts to comprehend more resolve, not simply a philosophical one. Observe what occurs when others notice that a person has stopped talking. They send lengthy messages in an attempt to get closure, demand answers, and try to coerce talks. They fail to see that his quiet is a choice to preserve his mental space rather than a window for conversation. When a Sigma male chooses peace over explanation, he is not being cold or contemptuous. Rather, he is acknowledging that there are some situations that can only be resolved by ignoring the need to resolve them. What is most illuminating about this choice is how it impacts both parties. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict, it's the presence of clarity. Others, however, are annoyed by the absence of resolution. Since he knows that no explanation will appease someone who isn't prepared to hear it, the Sigma finds comfort in the act of choosing quiet itself. True serenity comes not from forcing people to understand but rather from no longer requiring them to number 4. His choice is final. The distinction between coming to a conclusion and making a choice is quite clear. When a Sigma man comes to a conclusion, it's as definitive as a mathematical proof. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once said that excellence is not an act but a habit, and the same is true of a Sigma's decision-making process. Most individuals make conclusions that can be influenced, bargained, or overturned. The result of close observation, analysis, and comprehension is that efforts to modify his viewpoint are always foreseeable negotiating guilt trips rather than a single moment of choice. Promises of transformation notwithstanding, his choice marks the conclusion of a months-long discussion with himself rather than the start of a new one. This ultimate choice stems from something more profound than stubbornness. Every choice a Sigma man makes is based on layers of facts, patterns seen, and possibilities presented. By the time he stops talking, he has already weighed every option, investigated every aspect, and been offered more opportunities than anybody knew. The execution holds the power. No grandiose pronouncements, no demands, no space for discussion. The decision was reached with the same peaceful assurance that water flows downward because that is just the way things must be, not because it is attempting to make a statement. The loudest remark is often the one that is never said. When it's over, it's over. There are no appeals or negotiations, just silence, and the exit strategy is inaction. By the time those who pushed too far realize something has changed, the plan is already halfway done. The way a Sigma male responds to being pushed past his limit is more like a chess game where every move has been planned long before the final play. The master strategist wrote that every battle is won before it is fought. Sigma males apply this principle when they are forced to leave, while those who have crossed his boundaries see only sudden silence. He has already been methodically entangling from toxic connections. Most people react to betrayal or disrespect with immediate confrontation. Those who take him for granted may notice minor changes as a result of resource shifting and the creation of new pathways. The slow reduction in reaction to manipulative, silent retreat from one-sided interactions and the small turn away from those who constantly disregard his limits are examples of his behavior. Although each action seems to be unconnected at first, they are all a part of a well-thought-out reaction to his repeated betrayals of trust. Every move is deliberate, and every step is measured. Those who push too hard may realize that he's less accessible. He may not be as involved with people that took advantage of him. Even while those who violated his trust may see a widening gap, few make the connection until it's too late. Every piece moves for a reason. Others usually respond to treachery with dramatic confrontations or emotional outbursts. The Sigma male approach goes deeper. He is only carrying out the well-planned withdrawal from poisonous settings rather than attempting to make a statement or exact retribution. The real ability lies in the preparation, not the departure, so that everything is set for the last minute of stillness. When someone pushes a Sigma male too far, this switch flips with no way to go back. Epics put it simply, it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you choose to feel about it. No dramatic gestures are required. No bridges to burn, just a clean, precise execution of a plan long in motion. Number 6. He's emotionally detached. Have you ever noticed how it hurts more when someone stops caring than when they're angry? There's something final about that transition from feeling deeply to feeling nothing at all. When a Sigma is pushed above his breaking point, he doesn't just get angry, instead, he emotionally disconnects. This is evident in every contact. The real concern that was there before has vanished, and the deep discussions have been replaced with superficial civility. It's similar to seeing a flame extinguish gradually, rather than all at once, until only cold ashes remain. This isn't about being cruel or attempting to harm someone, rather, it's what occurs when someone cares about someone too much and eventually comes to the conclusion that certain individuals aren't worthy of a Sigma male's emotional investment. Cutting off feelings is about keeping his peace, not getting even. The shift is obvious. No more hurt, no more rage, and no more hope that things would change. People who go over the boundary end up interacting with someone who views them in the same impartial manner as they would a stranger. When a Sigma detaches, it's like wiping out a hard drive. Once it's done, there's no way to restore what was there before. You can't convince him to care again, you can't change his mind, and you most definitely can't make him forget why he decided to detach it in the first place. This isn't temporary or fake. 7th, he has seen through the games. Do you recall that split second when everything clicks and you realize you never fell for the illusion for Sigma males? This clarity strikes differently. It's irrevocable and complete. In his book The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene, a master of social dynamics, states that when a Sigma guy realizes that things are not as you desire them to be, all hope and doubt entirely evaporate. Every deception, guilt trip, and easy justification becomes brutally evident. The Sigma sees every game with crystal clarity, like watching chess moves in slow motion, which brings a strange kind of peace to his mind. All those little doubts that were pushed aside turned into clear warning signs. The patterns stand out like neon signs. The urgent calls that only come when they need something, the warm messages that appear just before a favor is asked, and the promises made only in times of desperation. When the justifications are accepted, they become carefully constructed stories, and the coincidences reveal their actual selves as strategic actions. When someone sees through a manipulator's act, their typical strategies are like rubber, and nothing worries them more. When a Sigma male has had enough, he's not just done with the person who pushed him, he's done playing a lot together. If this video spoke to you, consider subscribing to our channel for more content on the Sigma personality and other related topics.